This moment in time, with this contrasting experience, if you can stop beating up on yourself because you didn't get it right the first crack out of the box, if instead you can say, oh, this didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it's all right because I'm still standing here evaluating contrast. That's the peace that we're wanting you to find in this. So often, as you listen to us for a while, and you want to be deliberate creators, and you want to do the grid work, and you tried to get in the vortex, and you're trying to pay attention to the way you feel, and you're making an effort to be more the person that you want to be. And then when something that you thought you wanted doesn't turn out right now the way you wanted it to, then that second guessing starts happening. Then you start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? And if instead you can say, I didn't do anything wrong, this contrast is part of what's right. This contrast is part of the clarifying thing. It's part of the clarification that is helping me to identify more clearly what it is I do want. If we could just convince you that you want a creative plethora of opportunities to pull from. You don't want limited ones. And the contrast is just filling in the colors and the textures and the opportunities, you see. If we could zap you with something, and of course we can't, but we can know it so strongly that as you're willing to listen to us for a while, you'll begin to get it. You are in a really, really good place. You're asking really, really good questions. Your desire is really focused in a strong way. And this conversation that we've had, which was solely offered to soothe any angst you have about being in a wrong place, that's what every process that we've ever offered has always been about, to soothe your angst about any wrongness that you've done, because you're not doing anything wrong by standing in a place you don't want to stand in. When you're standing in a place you don't want to stand in, you're firing off rockets that are going to serve you. And if you can revel in the contrast and appreciate the variety, instead of condemning your lack of wisdom to be in a better place right here and right now. Let's start again. Do you believe that you are a vibrational being? This is the way we would do the work. We would continue to start with the premises that we are certain about, and we would continue to move forward and ask the question in a way that we can finally say yes, 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 without any contradiction within us. In other words, we know that you don't think that you are quite ready to give this vibrational approach your undivided attention. And we understand that, because in truth, it would be better if you would get a job to soothe your financial concerns. You would be less contradictory in your vibration if you were not worried about money.
Okay.
So if you could build a bridge that says, this is a temporary thing that I'm doing in order to hold myself in a place that I can keep my promises to my creditors, and that I can satisfy myself with the things that I want, and that more and more a satisfying way for money to flow will come to me. Because if you stand in a place where you say, I want more money, but I'm unwilling to do the action things that I know that bring money, now it isn't the action or the non-action, it's the contradiction in the energy. I want this, but I'm not willing. But when you say, I want this, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to come into alignment to get what I want, there's a helpfulness in that willingness. But then you say, but I'm contradicting myself, because Abraham, you're teaching me that I can do this through the power of thought. And we tried to clear that up with you in the first moment that you said that. We're not teaching you that action is not part of it. We're teaching you that action isn't the most important part of it, that the alignment is, and that it's possible for you to come into alignment so that the action that is then required of you by the filling of the vortex into the grid is action that you will be really thrilled in the offering of. There isn't one of you who doesn't want to act. You do. You want to act. And there isn't one of you who wouldn't revel in inspired action over required action. They are very different actions. But if you don't take the time to do the grid work, the inspired action doesn't come. And when it's required action, you get burned out really, really fast.
Yes.
But when it's inspired action, then you can't stay up long enough, and you can't get up early enough, and you can't talk about it enough, you see. When it's inspired action, the whole of the universe is flowing with you into this poignant moment. Most humans do not allow themselves the feeling of standing in a moment in time focused upon something that they care about, having cleaned up their vibration so that the energy that creates worlds is flowing through them in this moment, so that every intelligent consciousness that knows anything about what you're talking about or thinking about or engaging about is flowing with you and through you in that moment. That is co-creation at its best, you see. But you got to line up with that energy. And you got to know when you're not lined up with it and know when you are lined up with it, and then just keep leaning toward the lined up with it until after a while it becomes really easy. You can tell the offness of something almost instantaneously. That was the next question that we were going to ask you. How long do you think it would take you to bring the vibration of your grid up to the level of your vortex? How much time are we talking about? The thing that is most important about this conversation is that you speak often about things that you want, that you already believe. We're not asking you to make statements that you don't believe. That'll just throw you off in the bushes. And there's no value in that. You'll never get better at that. But if you can slow it down enough that you make statements that you believe, and you can focus on those statements that you believe and not introduce resistant thought to them, then those thoughts, because law of attraction is responding to them, those thoughts will gain momentum. And when a thought gains momentum, hear this, we're defining something for you. When a vibration of a thought gains momentum, it becomes more powerful, and that's when manifestations begin to occur to you. So if you just take some simple thought that you believe and don't mess it up by trying to make it more complicated than it needs to be, or by trying to change the way you feel about something. If you just take a simple thought that you already believe that matches what you want to know, that thought in and of itself will become bigger. What about that? Isn't that just amazing to know? All that effort that you've been offering from a place of trying to overcome something, no wonder you get tired, because you're bucking your own current. But when you take a thought that doesn't have resistance in it and you just allow it to sit within you, that's why meditation works. That's why there's such power in meditation. When you quiet your mind, you stop thought. And when you stop thought, you stop resistance. And in the absence of resistance, only resistant-free thought will flow to you. That's why you start feeling. That's why emotions start manifesting within you. That's why you start feeling movement. In the absence of resistant thought, all things are possible, you see. So then the big argument that most humans have had about that is, I don't want to stop thinking. I want to be a thinker. We want you to be a thinker too, but we want you to get on your high-flying disc before you think. We want you to get into the vortex before you think. We want you to prepare your vibrational atmosphere. We want you to set yourself up for the thoughts that feel good when they come. We want you to be your own thinker. We want you to think about all kinds of things, but first and foremost, we want the thought that you think to feel good when you think it, period. Problem-solving thoughts. Oh, I think I'll think about this problem. I think I'll think about this problem. I think I'll think about this problem. That doesn't feel good. When you think about a problem, think about a problem. Don't think about a problem. But when you think about a problem, you get that sort of funny feeling in your stomach when you think about the problem, because you're introducing resistance to the answer that's already culminating within you. The problem and the solution, the question and the answer are simultaneously within your reach. You've just got to decide whether you're tuning to the solution or to the problem, you see. You can get the wobble-free momentum going easily, or you can introduce wobble to it easily because you focus powerfully. You've been a problem solver for a long time. Now we're wanting you to, for a while, just be a problem avoider. And by a problem avoider, we mean a good feeling finder. We want you to teach yourself that law of attraction is responding to you. And these things we are certain of. We told you the things that you know. These are the things that we know about you going forward. You're never again going to tell that story. Oh, you'll tell that story. You will tell that story. But you're never again going to tell it without recognizing what you're doing. And as you tell that story and recognize what you're doing, you're going to find it humorous because it's sort of an old habit, and you're going to say things like old habits die hard, but new habits come on strong. The reason that old habits die hard is because you are a strong focuser. So you could just as easily say new habits increase quickly for me as old habits die hard, because both of them are the function of your ability to focus, you see. And so, if you care about how you feel, and we know that you do, and if you want momentum to increase, and we know that you do, if you will give yourself a break and not try to figure it out all at once, say to yourself when you get up in the morning, this is going to be a fun day. There's going to be lots of evidence of this. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to overthink it. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm overthinking it already. I'm going to be easy about this. This is easy. This is easier than I have known. These things I know. I know that I'm a vibrational being. You do. I know that I live in a vibrational universe. I'm coming to know, I could say that I believe that I'm an extension of source energy. And I believe that I'm here to come to my own personal conclusions about what I want. Do you believe all of that? Yeah, you do.
Yes.
I know that I've launched some rockets of desire, and I know that I'm not vibrationally up to speed with them yet, but I know that I can be. And I have a hunch that getting up to speed with them is the fun of life. So I'm happy that there are things that I'm not up to speed with. I'm happy that there are things still for me to become eager about. I like this idea of never-ended eagerness. I'm going to give myself a break. I'm going to be easier about all of this. I'm going to accept the goodness of my being. I'm going to watch for the evidence that source is with me. I'm going to watch for those times when I'm in a sort of neutral zone when good ideas come. I'm going to be more of a feeler of my way through this than a thinker. I'm really good at thinking. You can get the wobble-free momentum going easily, or you can introduce wobble to it easily because you focus powerfully. You've been a problem solver for a long time. Now we're wanting you to, for a while, just be a problem avoider. And by a problem avoider, we mean a good feeling finder. We want you to teach yourself that law of attraction is responding to you. And these things we are certain of. We told you the things that you know. These are the things that we know about you going forward. You're never again going to tell that story. Oh, you'll tell that story. You will tell that story. But you're never again going to tell it without recognizing what you're doing. And as you tell that story and recognize what you're doing, you're going to find it humorous because it's sort of an old habit, and you're going to say things like old habits die hard, but new habits come on strong. The reason that old habits die hard is because you are a strong focuser. So you could just as easily say new habits increase quickly for me as old habits die hard, because both of them are the function of your ability to focus, you see.